Halo. Halo. It's good to be back.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivas, with me is John Denton.
What's up?
Over the next 40 minutes or so, John and I are going to take it in turns, two top 10 lists, the games we've been playing all week, the two tens are the games we've played the least, number ones are the games we played the most. That's it. John, let's go.
So my number 10 is, I think it was the same as last week's number 10, Kumo Lumo on iPhone, the little cloud game that I talked about. Played a bit more. It's really charming and nice, and it works well on the screen. You control a little cloud, you spin the world around with your other hand. You rain on trees, they produce more clouds to give you more rain power. You have to drop rain on little enemies that set fire to the trees. It's perfectly fine, but it's not that good. You know, it's a little bit finicky to control. It's quite slow to get going, and it's one of those games that you want to like because there's so much style and charm to it, but ultimately maybe it would get a lot better if I stuck with it, but it's just not grabbing me. And with an iOS game, it pretty much needs to grab you straight away, otherwise you're not really going to put the time in. But I like the little cloud. He's got the voice of an old black American. It's about a 60-year-old black American, which is pretty good for a cloud. And it's nice enough, and of course it's 69p, so it's hardly anything. I don't feel like I've wasted any money, but it didn't grab me.
So you've gone off it?
I mean, last week I played it for 10 seconds, and I was like, this seems cool, but it didn't grab me. That's what I'm saying.
All right, fair enough. Okay, my number 10 is Symphonica on the iPhone.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's a Square Enix Bimani rhythm action game.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to say about it. All of the music is classical, and it's all music that almost everybody in the developed world has heard. So as soon as the tune starts, you're like, I know this piece of music, because they, they're ancient, they've been in everything, whatever. It's all very straightforward. The notes pass over a line, tap tap, drag. If it's all very straightforward. But it's set. They've given it this story. It's very, very Square Enix. It's very reminiscent of Final Fantasy. It's set in this Final Fantasy-like world, and you've got to make your way up this concert hall that's got all these levels, and there's characters and there's banter, and it's all pretty dry. And I just thought it is annoying because you're reading these reams of text, and it's like, I don't care. It's all pretty. I mean, they use really cheap devices to try and get you to keep playing. Like, this little girl says, "Oh, so many people have passed through here. So many conductors. If you leave, we're all going to quit." And it's like, all right, little girl, fine. But the gameplay's cool. I suppose they included all that stuff to give it a bit of personality, because there are a lot of games like this out there. It's a very good one, and if you're into classical music, it's pretty cool. I mean, the first chunk is free, and then you can buy DLC for it if you like. But it's very good. I'm not sure I can be bothered to stomach the story part.
Yeah, I can't stand that type of shit. But I do. Yeah, I do. If it's free to play, as you say, I'll check that out. Because I've been hearing that word, and it sounded interesting.
It's not bad.
I don't want to tap through. Honestly, reams of text are very, very rarely good.
Yeah, I'm torn because
rarely.
It's quite shit, but at the same time, I understand that they want it. It's a very nice production, very polished, but needless.
Some people do love all that shit, though.
They do, but when
they're probably not grizzly 30-something men.
That's true, and but the fact that the 3DS Square Enix rhythm action game, whatever the hell that was called, the fact that didn't need to include any of that says something. Possibly bollocks. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Go ahead.
Right, let's do it. Number 9, Street Fighter 2 collection on the iPhone, which is cheap. It was 69p until Halloween. It was kind of worth it just for the tunes alone, so I haven't heard those classic Street Fighter 2 tunes for ages. And it works all right. I hadn't played any Street Fighter games on the iPhone before, but I was surprised how well it worked. I was smashing through arcade mode review and the classic Street Fighter 2, and I was like, yeah, this is worth the 69p that I paid for it. It's just, the tunes, man. I love those tunes. I always will.
Have you not got that on Xbox or anything?
Yeah, but it was 69p.
Okay, that's fair enough. But I mean, what's Street Fighter 2 collection? Is it every version, like Hyper Fighting and all that other stuff?
I think it's that Championship Edition and Super Street Fighter 2, I think. But I just played the classic old school one because that was what I wasted hundreds of hours when I was a kid.
Didn't we all? That's not bad for 69p then.
No, not at all. Like I say, I mean, that's less than the price of an iTunes song, so for all those tunes. I love those.
Okay, fair enough. My number 9 is Harm's Way on the Xbox 360. I was going through stuff to delete because my hard drive's rammed on my 360, and I went to delete Harm's Way, but I accidentally launched it. So it started, and I was like, oh, all right, I'll see what's going on. Do you remember Harm's Way?
Harm's Way is... Which one's Harm's Way? I remember the name.
It came out on the same day as Doritos Jump Challenge or whatever the hell.
Oh, yeah.
Totally free.
Yeah.
Didn't play it much when it came out, had a look and whatnot, but I put it... First of all, I wanted to see if anyone was online, and amazingly, I went straight into a lobby.
Wow.
But there was just one guy there, sat there, and he wouldn't start the match, and I assume he was waiting, because there's an achievement for having someone join your online game.
Right.
So I assume he was just waiting for that to pop.
What a life.
Yeah, indeed. But I jumped into the one player, and it's actually really fucking good. I didn't really realise it at the time, but I'm surprised people aren't still playing it, because it's very good. Did you ever play it at all?
I can't really remember anything about it, to be honest.
You're driving, it's like dirt road, you're in the desert and you're racing these cars around. You can either drive the cars or you move around these turrets and try and shoot the cars out.
Okay.
Really slick, really enjoyable. I mean, I'm not going to play it again. But I was like, why didn't, considering it's free, it's the kind of thing that I thought me and my friends would have had a bit of a razz on, but no, we didn't. But at that time,
everyone was all about Doritos.
They were. We did play that quite a bit. Yeah, that was good.
Topic of the week as well, but enough about that. My number 8 is He-Man on the iPhone. I was quite excited about this because back in the day, I was all about He-Man. I don't know about you. Transformers, I liked them. Centurions were decent, but He-Man and straight up He-Man all day, every day. So, I was quite excited. I wasn't expecting it to be anything more than just a side-scrolling hack and slash, which is exactly what it is. But it's got a really stupid story about Skeletor's released an app. He-Man's annoyed about the app. I was like, does it need to be like self-parodying, aren't we clever? Just He-Man, just be He-Man. And the gameplay's shit. It's got some physics in it. You can knock stuff over onto bad guys, but it's fucking so boring. And it keeps texting me, telling me to play it, so I had to delete it.
How much was it?
69p. It got quite a lot of press. I think because it was He-Man and a lot of games journalists are our age, so I guess they like He-Man. But I was really disappointed, to be honest.
Did they replicate the voices from the cartoon and stuff?
No, it's just text.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the music. It has some really, really shit music that's a bit like the music, but not the proper He-Man music. So, yeah, maybe I just like He-Man a bit too much.
Well, who doesn't? But that sounds shit. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard about it, but I hadn't heard if the game was any good, so I didn't.
Well, I would have kept it on my phone and probably gone back to it, because I've got a lot of trains coming up this week, but it kept texting me, telling me to play it, and I kept thinking it was an actual text, so fuck off.
So they don't actually come on your text, do they?
Yeah, they actually come, in the iOS, where it drops down at the top and it folds over.
Yeah.
So you get that, and it'll be like, He-Man, Eternia needs you. It's just fuck off. Just constantly. So, yeah, he's gone. I had to get rid of him. Skeletor wins.
Fair play. Okay, I'm going to swerve that. What number was that?
That was my number 8.
Okay, my number 8 is Army of Two: The Devil's Cartel on the Xbox 360. Yeah, I played it at EA last week, but I haven't been able to talk about it until now. Difficult to know what to say about it. I mean, the first 2 Army of Two games were not that hot, to say the least.
No.
And the second one in particular was fucking just join the dots boring shithouse. It's been developed by Visceral, who do Dead Space and whatnot, and you can tell. I mean, it uses the Frostbite engine. Does it use the Frostbite engine? I might be making that up. The environments are really destructible. So when you go mental and you do that thing, when you've synced up all your points and you have that bar that goes up, my God, I should have tried to remember what the hell that thing was called. But it's the same in the other 2 Army 2 games where you build up that meter and then you basically go mental. And when you do it in this, Rage Meter, I'll call it, whatever the fuck it was called, and you shoot the hell out of the environment whilst also shooting these guys, it's just carnage and the environment gets splattered to hell. I mean, I only played it for about 5 minutes. And it felt like much the same, albeit much more polished, just much more fun to play. It was a stupid bit. We ran and we killed a load of guys, we kept reviving each other, we shot down a helicopter.
Oh, God, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because it does what it says on the tin. It seemed to be better than the other two Army 2 games, although that's not saying a lot.
Yeah.
And it's too early to tell whether it's going to be A to B, A to B, A to B, kill some guys and just have no invention in the level design or anything like that. But it was fine. It looks like it's going to be the best of the three, if that means anything to you.
When's it out?
March, I think.
Okay.
It is a good-looking game for what it is, and to be honest, it's got local co-op, and I think that game was made for local co-op. So
it's no 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
No, what is though? That's a hell of a game.
What is? Yeah, fucking grenade.
It's one of the only things I've got 1,000 gamer score on.
And what an achievement that is.
No doubt.
My number 7 is a game called Drop 7, which I'm pretty sure is Christian Donlan's favourite game, friend of the podcast, if you're listening. So finally I thought I would give it a go because he's written so much about it. I think he's been to see the developers and stuff, and it's a... have you heard of it? Drop 7?
Drop 7? No, I don't think I have.
It's a grid puzzle game where your little blocks that come down, they're circles and they've got a number inside them, and they from 1 to 7. And to make the stuff go away, Tetris style, you have to drop a number into a line that has that many... the amount on the number in the line. Does that make sense?
Nope.
So if you've got three things sitting next to each other and you get a 4, you connect them to the 3, and then you've got a line of 4 with the number 4 in it, and then that'll make the 4 disappear.
Oh, so 4 of them in total with the number 4 on the last one?
Yeah. And if there happened to be another 4 within those 3, that would also disappear.
Okay.
So you're constantly having to think and strategize in really clever ways. You're using basic maths, sort of spatial awareness, and standard grid puzzle stuff at the same time. And I can see why people love it. It's free now as well. And it's clearly a work of absolute genius. I will dedicate some proper time to it during my hours and hours of train journeys this week. But I can see why people go so nuts for it, because it's just sometimes you get a puzzle game that's just so well designed that you can't pick fault with it, and Tetris being the original one of those, really. This seems like it's in that category.
What format? Is it an iOS game?
Yeah, it's an iPhone game. It was one of the first. It's been out since I had it on my iPod Touch fucking ages ago, but I think it cost like $149 at the time, so I didn't upgrade from the light version. But now it seems to be completely free. So I'd get it if I were you. It's bloody good.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I reckon you'll like it.
I'll give it a whack. Okay, my number 7 is Rock Band Blitz. Spoken about it more than enough. Still absolutely adore it. I'm continuing to beat high scores and get golds on the song. Yeah, I just got a gold star on Baba O'Reilly the other day, and I thought that wasn't going to be possible, but it is. I feel kind of sad playing it these days, though, because I feel like no one else is playing it. I feel like it's such a niche game. And it's just a real shame. I hope there's a sale on it at some point, because I think there's a lot of people that don't realise how much they'd love it. Or even don't know what it is. They think maybe it's an add-on for their guitars.
Maybe they played the trial as well and they were confused by how it works, because, as we said before, it takes a while, doesn't it? I'll get back into it once silly season goes. I haven't had time to play it at all. But and also I've talked about the depression of playing it when you and your other half are ahead of me on every single track. But I can still 5 gold stars almost everything, so I must be half good at it.
Yeah, I love it. I still love it, but nothing new to say. I'll probably mention it next week.
For reals. My number 6 is The Simpsons Tapped Out on the iPhone. I've been playing a lot of iPhone games, but later on you'll see why, because I've basically spent this week playing one game, and we'll talk about that in depth later. But have you heard of The Simpsons Tapped Out?
It's an obsession. It's my girlfriend's new obsession.
It's the same game as that Scarface game.
It is exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but better, because it's The Simpsons.
And there is actually gags in it, yeah.
Yeah. It seemed pretty cool. The whole tapping on money and thing, that kind of feedback loop, I don't think works on me as much as it does other people. I don't gamble or anything like that. That type of thing, for some, it doesn't seem to click with my brain in the way that, say, a music game does, where I can get completely obsessed. But I can see how it would be fun, and again, all these journeys coming up, so that could be something that kills some time. So it doesn't look like it's particularly taxing, but it's certainly very polished.
Yeah,
and nice and free, and some good gags in there.
The intro is really funny.
Yeah.
Although I think my girlfriend wanted to show it to me, and she had to delete it and re-download it or something, because there was no way of going back and watching it again for some strange reason.
You should have just downloaded it to your phone.
That's for it. Did I even do that? Maybe we did that. I can't remember. Or maybe we found it on YouTube. Well, hey.
What life?
Indeed. But yeah, I haven't tried it. I probably will have a look at some point. But we went to bed the other day and my girlfriend was like, can't go to sleep yet. I've got to stay awake for another half an hour because I've got to do something on Tapped Out. And I was just like, what? Wait until the morning. And she was like, no, I can't do that. I don't understand that element of it, but it's got her by the balls.
Yeah, seemingly. Yeah. But I reckon you'll like it because you like that Scarface game and it's the same game but better.
I don't think I did like it, did I? I think I was just compelled to play it whilst hating it at the same time.
Yeah, I guess that. Isn't that what those games are all about though?
Probably, yeah. And small children buying loads of credits with money.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, my number 6 is Pro Evolution Soccer 2013. I'm not going to talk about it. We've spoken about it every week. The online problems continue to persist. Despite that little guy's insistence that he's fixing it. I still think it's great, although I've convinced a friend to get it and he's tearing his hair out and he's one step away from trading it in because he can't compete with me. I didn't think I was that great at it, but I'm hammering him. He does beat me very, very occasionally, but he thinks that I've let him win, so he's getting no reward out of winning, and it's really it's annoying because I need someone to play it with because you rarely play it.
I haven't had time, mate. I haven't had time at all. It's not even on my list this week.
Neither have I, but he's a mate who I like. It's a substitute for speaking on the phone. We just chat while we're playing it. But it's still great, apart from the fucking online problems. But that's Pro Evo for you.
That it is. That little guy, he'll get it done.
Let's hope.
My man, Kenshi. He'll get it done. My number 5 is Punch Quest. Have you heard of Punch Quest? Everyone's banging on about it.
I've heard, yeah.
It's gleaming. You've got to get it. Free, iOS, Endless Runner. You couldn't have a more descriptive title, and it's a brilliant title as well. You're this little guy, you're running through levels, and you punch the shit out of everything with different combinations. Use like dragon punches and just general punches, and the more you keep going, crazy shit happens. You get fucking dinosaur lasers. Gets really weird. It's really, really fun to play. It doesn't feel like it's stitching you over. It's not asking you to buy anything or anything like that. I think there are in-app purchases. I'm sure there are, but it's not about that. And it's just one of those games that's probably going to make the people that made it millionaires.
How can they be millionaires if it's a freebie?
Because there definitely is in-app stuff, and like I've spoken to people that I know that have spent 12, 13 quid playing New Star Soccer. I've not spent a penny on it apart from buying the career mode, but some people they don't care. They'll happily spend the money on in-app purchases to get ahead quickly, to buy power-ups and stuff. I think it's people from a different gaming culture to us. We're used to earning everything through hard work. That sounds terrible. But we're so ingrained that you have to play games for ages to get the good stuff, because we've done it our whole lives. But people who never really gamed or stopped when they were kids but came back into it on the phone are more inclined to drop a few quid just to get what they want. And that's how these things work, I'm sure. But Punch Quest it's not intrusive. That part doesn't affect the design, and everyone should get it.
I had no idea it was free. I assumed it was like a £2 or something. Because
no, it's a freebie.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. I mean, a lot of the time when there's all that buzz about an iOS game, it's normally £2. So that much money, honestly, who'd spend it?
Yeah, punchy. It's good.
Okay, my number 5 is Ghost Squad on the Nintendo Wii.
What a game.
Yeah.
You told me you got it on cheap on eBay.
99p.
Ow.
I don't know why, I just got the sudden urge to play it again. If you've got a Nintendo Wii in your house, get Ghost Squad. I remember when it first came out and everyone was talking about it, including you, and I was just like, I've played arcade ports of light gun shooters before on the Wii. They're fucking crap. Ghost Squad is one of the best games on the Nintendo Wii. I can't get over how good it is. Even playing it now, it makes you excited about the Wii. It harnessed the possibilities of that console without even realising it. Better than even first party stuff did. It's remarkable. Because you're not dragging a reticule around the screen, you're just pointing and shooting. But the way it sort of, I don't know, it just seems perfect.
Yeah.
It's so strange because it's the kind of thing that should be really finicky. Like, even when you're doing long distance sort of sniper shots, you feel like you're nailing it. It's so hard to describe, and it is just a light gun game, but it's by far the best one I've ever played outside of an arcade. And there's all this great stuff. I mean, it's made. I mean, you can play through the whole game in like 15 minutes. But every time you do it, there's all these unlocks, different weapons, stupid dolphin costumes, and all this unlocks. I mean, it was an obsession of mine when it came out. I must have played it 50 times over, and it's still appealing now. It's one of the best games on the Wii. If you've got one in your house, go and get it. It's. I can't believe how good it is.
Yeah, I thought I still had it, but it's not in my games cupboard, which I was disappointed by. Because when you mentioned it, I was like, I fancy a Horizon Ghost Squad. It's been years, but maybe I have to get a 99p copy as well.
Oh man, it's so. I mean, I've never played a game that good. A light gun game on any console. So good.
Yeah, good old Ghost Squad.
Yeah, quite.
Good times. So my number 4 is Hotline Miami on the PC.
Oh yeah, go on.
Hotline Miami is sort of everything that I like and everything that I hate about PC gaming rolled into one. What I like is that, something this unusual, subversive, hardcore, weird, almost nasty but clever can exist and find an audience and doesn't need a publisher, a big publisher, and can generate its own PR and exist and be easily accessible to people through Steam. All that stuff's amazing, and I'll talk a bit more about the gameplay in a minute. But the game is so fucking buggy. I've had to reinstall it twice. I've had to reinstall different files within the thing. I'm waiting on a new patch. I've done one part of the game about I'd say 170 times, and I've completed it. The flow of the game is you end up doing each section 20-30 times because that's the way. It's like Trials or Super Meat Boy, right? But I've done this bit 6 times. I finished it, and the game is bugged out every single time, so I can't get to the next floor. Like, I need to go up a floor, and so I just get stuck, and then my whole computer crashes. And every time I think I fixed it, I have to get. The only way I can tell if it's still broken is to do that bit again. It's so fucking hard that for people who've not been buggy, they'd have probably done it on maybe their 20th or 30th go, got to the next bit, never thought about it again. But it just became the game. I spent so much more time on this one part of the one level than on all the rest of the game put together that it's coloured my view of the game somewhat, which is a shame because it's a fantastic game. It's difficult to talk about review scores and stuff because that did colour my enjoyment of the game massively. And the people were talking about Medal of Honor's bugs and stuff like that. It's like, man, if a console game came out this buggy, people would fucking destroy it. People would destroy Medal of Honor for bugs that it might not have even had. And this has come out and got relatively scot-free, really. And I know a lot of people have had a lot of problems with it.
I haven't heard anything on Twitter, people talking about it extensively on Twitter.
I think, PCs are so variable. That's the problem. My PC isn't very powerful and it doesn't have a proper graphics card, but it is powerful enough to run the game because it does run the game. So I'd imagine if I had a decent PC with a decent graphics card, maybe this wouldn't be a problem. But when the game works for 5 levels and then stops, it's a nightmare. But talking about the game itself, because I managed to get past that level, because it actually unlocked the level afterwards, and I managed to play on after it, thankfully. Very, very clever design, a mixture of like strategizing and Twitch gameplay that is not really like anything else. It's completely has its own feel to it. You understand that you go into a room, it's top down, and there's like maybe 10 guys in there, and you have to quickly work out how to take them out. You can only take one hit, and if you do, you die, and you instantly restart. And you'll burst into a room, say, kick a door down. That'll knock a guy down, chuck a knife at one guy, quickly grab the guy on the floor, slash his throat, grab his gun, hide behind the door, fire a shot into the air. Guys will run down. You'll take 2 of them out, move to the next room. Like when it flows like that, I actually likened it in a piece that I wrote to Halo, weirdly, because it makes you feel like you're almost superhuman and you're doing everything. You're making these like instant decisions constantly, and doing stuff that almost feels impossible. And the second you think about it too much, you start to fuck up. But it also has that kind of restart culture that Halo has, when you get to a tough checkpoint. But, coloured by the bugs. And it's a shame because everything else about the game is so cool. The masks, the music is amazing. Hopefully if other people play it, they won't have any of the problems that I had and they can just enjoy the game. I'm continuing to stay away from it. I've not seen a screenshot. I don't know what it looks like. But I've heard that there is a Mac port coming
sort
probably
of
next month.
That's what I heard. So as soon as that comes out, I'm going to snap it up straight away. But continue to be interested. I'm surprised that you're saying it's so buggy because, like I said, I haven't heard anything about that at all.
If you go onto the forums and Google it, it's a real bad problem.
Wow. Okay. But definitely worth the money you paid for it, right?
I mean, it's £7. The game's superb. Whether or not, I mean, it's difficult to talk about the reviews, like I said, because obviously I'm talking about the Eurogamer 10 out of 10. I still don't think I'll probably go that far, but it's certainly a very, very high scoring and worthy of high scoring game. And a game that's way more. Tom Bramwell summed it up actually really well. That it's more than the sum of its parts. Massively, every single part is integral to how that game feels as well as how it plays.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can't wait to get stuck in, and I'm going to keep avoiding it until then.
Yes, well, I'll have a Mac then as well, so I might actually just get it on the Mac, and life will just surely be easier.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, my number 4 is Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask on the Nintendo 3DS.
Oh yeah.
Have you played the Layton games?
I have played one Layton game extensively. I can't remember which one it is. I think it was Pandora's Box, and very fine it was too.
They're all very, very good. I mean, they're all excellent. And the thing is, playing this one, what struck me is that they never become twee. There's such a danger, especially when you've got these two characters, the Professor Layton and the little kid, that could always descend into sort of irksome tweeness. But that's Nintendo avoid that 99% of the time, which is probably, although it's level 5, it's so at home on it. I mean, it's a very much a Nintendo game. The new one is the first one on the 3DS. There are a couple of there's a sort of a dungeon crawling sequence later on, and at the beginning there's this horse riding set piece. But by and large, it's the same thing. The only difference is that you're not tapping things on the bottom screen; everything's on the top screen. So you have this sort of icon that denotes where you're pointing on the bottom screen, which works really well. And you move around this 3D environment. The visuals are great. I mean, there's those anime cutscenes, and the way it blends into the actual in-game animation is about as seamless as I think it could be done. It really is. For a 3DS game, it's pretty eye-popping. It's one the most interesting Layton game I've played because there's the opening and the way the story's set up. It reminded me of Indiana Jones, and Layton's always been like the world's most patient man and basically Sherlock Holmes. Whereas in this, there's this bit where you go and meet this woman, and you find out that the bad guy is possibly an old colleague of his from back in his uni days, and this woman might be an old flame of his. It was like the beginning of an Indiana Jones movie, or even James Bond, something like that. And then a large portion of the game is told in flashback, and that's something that really worked as well. It reminded me of Uncharted 3, although this is, I thought this was a slightly more effective the sequence in that respect. But it's by and large, I mean, I thought the narrative was more interesting, but by and large, it's the same good shit as always. Yeah. The puzzles are as good as they always are. There's still always a couple where you find out the answers and you're just like, what? That was not a puzzle. I mean, they probably are if you give it much thought, but they just like, what? I mean, there were a couple of times where I got really, really frustrated, but that happens in Layton games anyway. There's the only thing I'll say about the gameplay is that there's hint coins absolutely everywhere, much more so than in past games. So when you do get stuck, or when you do get presented with a ridiculously flummoxing puzzle, you can just skip your way past it with these hint coins.
Coin it up.
Yeah. It's terrific. The Layton games are all great. It's not massively different from the other ones, but it does look stunning. And if you're a fan, it's a must buy, obviously.
Yeah, I like the one that I played of Layton, but I don't know if I'd do another.
Well, if you're going to, I mean, it's difficult because they're all great. I'm not saying this is any better than the others, but just the way it looks is really fucking. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's great, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate on the late. Yeah, number 3 for me, Need for Speed Most Wanted. Very, 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 very glorious. The reviews came out today. It's always interesting to see how your colleagues and your peers react to things that you're really into. Obviously, everybody seems to really like it, which is great because I really like it. But I think a similar thing might happen to what happened with Burnout Paradise. I think people only really truly understood the true measure and skill involved in that open world way after the game came out, and they spent lots of time with it. There's stuff that Criterion's done in this open world which initially may seem exactly the same as Paradise City, but there's stuff in there that I don't think will be appreciated until people have spent a lot of time with the game. I'm talking about the way that the events are tied to the cars, and you can jump between different cars, and the way the city is constantly, like, almost constantly evolving to how you're playing, and the options that are open to you. It is a truly open game. The structure is, you've got a game like Forza Horizon, which has quite a now traditional open world driving game structure, and it's awesome. But this has done its level best to kind of throw structure as much out the window as possible, yet still, it almost allows you to build your own structure through however you want to play the game. There's the 10 most wanted cars that you can race through, but even that, there's constant distractions which feel as complete as the rest of the game. And Criterion are really committed to doing interesting things in the open world, and they did to Paradise, and they have progressed it here in an awesome way. And they've really upped the game on the multiplayer as well, haven't they?
I've only done an hour or an hour and a half, I think it was. Mm-hmm. But I know it's going to be fun. It's taking what I loved about Burnout Paradise and just accentuating that. So, I mean, I haven't played it since then. I'm going to play it this week, so I'll talk about it next week. But okay. I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm surprised to see so many 8s and sort of... Well, I saw a couple of 8s. I mean, that's a great review score. But from what I played, I mean... But I love Criterion.
I do.
So it's a Burnout game by another name again. But I was just... I'm sure it's going to be up there for this year.
Yeah, Criterion stuff feels special to me in ways that a few other developers' games do. Bungie... So, some Nintendo stuff, a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but there's a kind of spirit to it, almost a soul. It sounds stupid, but there's something just a bit more when you it feels fucking. The word visceral is a really annoying word to use, but I can't think of a better word right now. And the race is in Need for Speed, and this is same for Hot Pursuit, same for pretty much all the Burnouts, even the first one, which was not great, but had some
the first
potential.
Burnout was wicked.
Well, it was, but it was probably too hard, and it felt like a game more about potential than anything else. The first Burnout, and they really capitalised that on number 2. But all of their games are soul. I'm going to say it. There's something more than just mechanics and racing and design and slick artistry and things like that. There's something more there, and I don't know. It's something that I probably need to find more time to actually get my thoughts down exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm just kind of coming up with it on the fly, but yeah, I'm so impressed with almost everything they've ever done, and this is no different. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's going to be taking up a lot of my time over the next week or so and beyond, I'm sure, because I think it's the one game that everyone I know that has the same, everyone that's got an Xbox that I play games with is going to get it. So yeah, I'm looking forward. And
the way they've stepped up the game on the multiplayer is brilliant. Having their own Criterion playlists that now you're not reliant on a host coming up with like, let's do this challenge. You just whack it on Criterion playlists and it will come up with stuff on the fly for you. So you're constantly, doesn't matter if one guy drops out or the host isn't active, you're constantly having stuff to do, and it can be races, team races, those cool challenges. It's better than anything else in its class in terms of the multiplayer.
Well, I hope, because that was the one thing that it didn't annoy me as such, but there was a couple of challenges in Burnout Paradise. I mean, me and a mate did all of that, and there was a couple of challenges that required 8 people, and there was one in the quarry area, and I remember it was in the quarry area because we had a theme song for whenever that challenge came up. But you had to barrel roll through these bits of pipe that were... It was really hard.
I did it with you guys.
It was hard, but you'd always get 1 or 2 guys who just kept smashing straight into the wall, and you'd be like, come on, and then they'd fail a few more times and leave, and no one else would join. You'd be like, after all that. So if they've made it so that if people leave, it's fine, that's good. But at the same time, I like the challenge of finding the right people. But that's a waste of time. Who wants to waste the time doing that? But yeah, God, Need for Speed, Most Wanted. It is my most wanted.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'll talk about it next week. Right, my number 3 is Medal of Honor Warfighter.
That's my number 2. So let's do it.
Well, I mean, what we talk. Let's talk about the campaign first.
Okay.
It's fine.
I thought it was crap.
You thought what?
I thought it was crap.
Really?
Yeah, the campaign I thought was crap.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought it was considerably worse than the previous Medal of Honor.
It's definitely worse than the first one, but it's completely competent. It's fine. I mean, whenever I play games like this, I play them. I do the campaign once. I did it yesterday in one sitting, about 5 hours long. And then you go on to the multiplayer. I mean, the COD games, I rarely return to the campaigns.
Yeah.
You do them.
That's what they're there for, really.
Yeah. This campaign was certainly no better than anything I can compare it to, not even Homefront. But it was competent. It was fine. It didn't offend me. I didn't think it was offensively bad.
I didn't think it was offensively bad. I use crap as opposed to awful or terrible. Like 4 out of 10 for the campaign.
Did you do the whole thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were set pieces and stuff. The thing that I hated about it the thing that I was really unimpressed by, which wasn't so much the case in the previous Medal of Honor, was A, how boring it was, and B, the enemy AI that run in, do a slow Zoolander turn towards you, and then just crouch behind a bit of cover and pep you with fucking lightning accurate shots, and there was no variety to it, whereas there wasn't much variety into the previous one either, but that every level seemed to be built around a concept in the previous Medal of Honor. You know, had the run being chased down the hill level, or the, you know, we're here and the snipers are there level. You know, there weren't amazing, groundbreaking concepts, but it kind of gave a mediocre game a bit more personality, whereas this just felt like the few concepts that they did try just kind of failed, like the one where you're chasing the guy on foot, and then he just waits as all his mates come up to shoot you, so you have to shoot them, and the guy's just waiting behind him, not continuing to run. It's like, come on.
Yeah, but I think Call of Duty did something similar to that. That's just, I mean, I've seen that done many times.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just shit, though.
It's pretty shit, but I'm not going to diss this because it does things that other games have done before. I mean, it's not good. I just thought it was fine. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, it's annoying because I've seen so many people really kicking off about it and being vicious about it, and it's just like, I know for a fact that some of them haven't even touched it.
Yeah,
so
I basically thought it was fine too, but maybe like a couple of notches below. It certainly didn't make me angry, or it didn't offend me in any way. It's just, I thought it was not quite as good as the previous one, a bit shithouse, but it's not really about that anyway.
I thought it was competently entertaining. I mean, I thought it was fine. I did this, you know.
I think you're a bit more forgiving of this style of game than I am, and I think I'm a bit more forgiving of it than a lot of people.
Perhaps, but it was functional.
I thought at times it wasn't functional, where at times it slipped below functional for me.
Okay, how so?
With the enemy AI and the lightning accurate way that they could shoot you was extremely frustrating at times.
I haven't found this at all. That's very strange. What difficulty were you doing on?
Just the standard difficulty.
So did I. That's really weird. I didn't find anything like that. The story was crap, awful, didn't make any sense. The inclusion of wives and girlfriends and stuff was just like piss off. I mean,
it's good that you get to play as Adam Levine from Maroon 5, though. I was quite happy about that.
It didn't look anything like him. That's off. You're off your nut. Didn't look nothing like him.
And also, his best mate was also Adam Levine from Maroon 5. So.
Okay, you're off your nut.
Happy about that. Who was Stump? Why did you suddenly have to play as him sometimes?
Yeah, but it was ripping off COD, man. It was back and forth between different characters, whatever. I didn't like the fucking bit at the end, the credits at the end, the sort of testimony. I didn't know who it was from. I think it was supposed to be from a character in the game. It read like it was from the developers, but I couldn't quite work it out. Where it just said, it had this sort of eulogy about soldiers in the field, and it was like the silent heroes. They wake up every day and they don't know they're making it. And I'm not against praising, you know, soldiers and infantry for what they do, but trying to portray them as sort of Latter-day Saints does not help the case that everyone thinks that this is kind of a recruitment drive for the fucking American military. I thought that left a nasty taste in the mouth, but I thought the game was fine, and there were bits of it that I thought, that's pretty good. The bit with the car, the second car chaser, that's the other thing.
To be fair, the car bits were quite good.
The car bits were quite good, but the whole thing about EA and the developer making a big deal about how realistic this is, Tier 1 operative has helped to write it, all these scenarios really happen and stuff, they still... Maybe that's true, but they still filter it through the same bullshit 1980s action movie filter as the fucking Call of Duty guys do. Yeah. So is there a helicopter gunship sequence? Yes. Is there a fucking breach sequence? About fucking 500.
Oh, man. with all the things that you can unlock, shotgun breach,
completely
all the
pointless.
same.
What's the point? How do you want to breach this door? It doesn't make any difference, mate. You pick. Fuck it, I've got to go through a little wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Pointless.
Just do what you want. And why do you care so much how many headshots I get?
Yeah, I mean,
fetishistic fuck.
See, there is. I mean, it is quite shit. And the whole the hold left bumper and sort of move out of cover. It's no quicker to use that system than it is to just keep ducking and.
I know, it's slower, but
it's pointless.
I think we basically think the same thing. I think you may be ever so slightly kinder towards it, but I don't feel the need to kick off. Maybe it's just as I've got older and I just don't get so angry anymore. But
I don't care. I mean, the thing is, I don't care. I played it in one sitting. I never bored me. It never irritated me. I was like, that's fine. It's fair enough. There was things that I thought were tasteless in it, and as I was saying, the second car set piece. Where it's basically a stealth bit where you keep avoiding these guys that are tracking you, and you have to sort of sneak around this city in order to get out of it, hiding in these little sort of nooks. Well, that was a really cool idea, very well done. But when I was doing the first driving sequence, I was like, this is really cool as well. This is like, you feel like you're actually.
Yeah, it was good. It was done by the Need for Speed the Run guys, wasn't it? It's better than that game.
Oh, yeah, those sequences were better than the whole of Need for Speed Run. But as I was saying about the whole thing, we're realistic. I was thinking that during the car bits, I was like, this kind of feels a little bit like it may have been inspired by true events, but as soon as you nudge an enemy car, it's basically a burnout takedown.
Yeah.
They flip out and you're like, yeah, we're taking care of him. I'm like, what? Realism, my arse.
But I wrote in my piece that I wrote about this game that anyone focusing too much on the campaign is just missing the point entirely. Because you go and watch the YouTube videos, and that's what it's all about now. Like these kids with 600, 700,000 subscribers doing their gameplay videos. They don't give a fuck about campaign. They barely even acknowledge the fact it exists in these games.
So most people
it's all
don't. Yeah.
About the multiplayer. And any reviews that's focused 3/4 on the single player, you fucked up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but
these are multiplayer games.
That's what annoys me, because all of the reviews that came out like hours after they got the game, and they've just played through the campaign, and there's sort of cursory mentions of multiplayer. I'm like, that's not.
By most of the time, people, you can't play those games, because I am no good at these types of games, and I'm a hell of a lot better, as I've proven in many situations where you get to play other press, that I am much better than most of the press at these types of games, purely because I've played a lot more of them than a lot of the press who don't play those types of games. And there's plenty who do and are also good, but I'd say a good 75% of the press that I've come across can't play those types of games at all. Yeah. So you wonder how many of those end up on reviews. I'm not talking about anybody specific at all in any of the reviews. I can't even remember them, but that's the general area that I got from reading quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the multiplayer is it's very, very good. And I started playing it yesterday, and I got gripped.
It's very good.
It has some. The problem with it is the interface is fucked. The multiplayer interface, where you do all the stuff that Call of Duty does so well, the way it invites you to tinker with all these elements, which normally those are the kind of things that I think most people who play video games wouldn't even bother with. But the way Call of Duty presents them, they're so accessible. And in this, fucking menus of text and complicated pick him, pick the. And I just like. What? It's so intimidating. You have to piss around with it a bit first, and then you understand it a bit. When I really got it's got some. It does exert the same kind of grip that Call of Duty does, albeit sort of, it's not quite as immediate. But playing the game, it was fun. And that mode, what was it called? Safe House.
I've forgotten it.
It's the mode I spoke about last time, where you've got one life.
The exact mode you mean. Yeah.
That's.
I read about it, but I've forgotten it for some reason. It's that mode that we talked about.
It's fucking good.
It is good. It's the no respawn mode, basically, where you can choose to kill everyone or capture the flag that for some reason neither of us can remember the name, and we could have just written it on a PDF. It's a good mode. And I like the way that the whole fire team system, the two-man teams within the teams, it makes the flow of the action, even in team deathmatch, different to other games. If you play a lot of these games, you'll feel it more, because there's no lone wolves really running around. If you see someone running out and you shoot him, you've got to be prepared for his buddy to be there as well.
Yeah,
and if you go lone wolfing, you're going to get killed by two.
That's the problem. Is that I don't know anyone that's got this game, so I'm playing it alone, and I'd always be lumbered with the fucking jackass that just runs off and shit. And it's just like, it's so annoying, because part of the game you're like, where's my guy? I've got low health, because health. Yeah. If you get hit, it takes ages for you to sort of come back to normal health, and if you're out of ammo, you're up shit creek. And I'm just like standing around this guy, fucking give me some ammo, you shitbag. And
I had a few games like that, but I had a few, and you stay with your partner as it cycles to the next match. I had a few games with a guy who was he had the same mindset as me. He understood that he was going to get more points by sticking with me, and I think he's just had a brain. And we ended up, kind of forming this like unspoken teams. We weren't on headsets or anything like that, and it was actually a good team, and we were winning games and constantly resupplying each other, and that was kind of cool because you only do it with a mate. At least it's your mate, but it's kind of this unspoken bond between this guy, a free French guy. Well done. But yeah, it's rare that happens. By the time you get fucking morons.
Yeah, and that's a shame, but. It's very. I mean, there's no way in the world that anyone, I don't think, could describe this as essential, especially because COD's around the corner. But if you're the kind of person who plays, I know a lot of people who play games as a pair. Like I've got a bunch of friends, and like they always buy things for co-op, or they play Battlefield as a pair. If you play your games like that, this is actually a very, very palatable alternative to COD because there is a lot of emphasis placed on playing with your buddy.
And I think it will sell a lot of copies to people waiting for COD who want something to do for 3 weeks, and they'll buy it, they'll trade it in for COD. There'll probably be some deals on when COD comes out or something. And for those 3 weeks, they'll be perfectly satisfied, and that's all they need out of it.
That's what I mean. That's why it's kind of annoying me that people have kind of gone a little bit overboard in saying the game's shit, because it isn't. And it's... I always feel for the... I mean, everyone's like, oh, it's EA, yes, it's another military shooter, yes, it's this, yes, it's that. But I always think about the guys that have busted their asses for a year and a half making this thing. And now a bunch of guys who've just got I see a lot of people, if you bought this game... just people who are being real dicks about the fact that it's sold well, and has it sold well though? It was number one in England, but does that mean anything?
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm sure it'll do fine. I think there'll be a large amount of people who do exactly what I said. And if you check again, this is for these types of games, I make sure I keep up with these kids on YouTube because their audiences are huge and they listen. They fucking listen to what these kids are saying. And the YouTubers are saying, get this before COD. So invariably people will.
Well, I hope they do because I think it's a good game. I mean, I'm not going to... when I say the campaign's fine, it's fine. It's passable. What's annoying is that people are saying that it's less than that. It isn't. It's just on the level. It's fine. It's serviceable. It does what it says on the tin. There's a couple of really nice ideas in there. There's a couple of... I couldn't believe they ripped off the call of the Modern Warfare 4... sort of test sequence where you run through the plane.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's exactly the same. I was like, I can't believe you just fucking lifted that, and that's like alarming.
Yeah.
But the multiplayer is very, very good, and it deserves an audience. Although I don't think that audience is going to stay around much longer after COD comes. But
which looks very fine indeed.
It does.
Incidentally,
do you remember a character in the campaign? So I've got to mention this. There's a character in the campaign, he's like your contact, called Ajab.
Ajab?
A-J-A-B.
Your contact?
He's a guy who's around with you in some of the missions in the campaign.
I guess so. Okay. It's not ringing a bell.
No, it's just because whenever the American soldiers say his name, they say Ajab. Where's Ajab? Where's Oddjob? I'm like, Oddjob? Imagine if just fucking Oddjob came in and started flinging his hat around. I was like, people would be much nuts. Better. It would have been better, but yeah. Sorry, that was a completely pointless interjection, but that's I thought it was quite amusing. Ajab.
That's good. Ajab and Stump. I'd watch that. Right, that was my number 2, so I need to hear your number 2.
My number 2 is Forza Horizon.
Nice.
I've been playing a fuckload of Forza Horizon, if only because... Well, I mean, I absolutely adore it, but I'm trying to... I can't have 2 driving games in my life. It's never been the way for me. I can't do it. So I need to clear the slate for... Need for Speed. Most games under the amount of... If you play a game for that much, normally you'll get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done early. But it's a testament to how good Forza Horizon is that I've hammered the fucking shit out of it. I've played it so much, and I could play it. It is. I really can't overstate how good it is. But yeah, I have to get rid of it because I have to sort of cut it off, so to speak, because I need to invite Need for Speed in. But Forza Horizon is a phenomenal game. It really is.
Yes, I didn't have a chance to play it this week, as I didn't with Dishonored, XCOM, or Resident Evil, loads of games. But I will go back to Forza, even if it's after Need for Speed, because it's not going to feel dated for a long time. So it looks so fucking good, and I've still got about a good chunk of the single player game to get through. Yeah. It's vast, really. So and it's just lovely to drive around in that world with those cars. Lovely.
I can't fault it. It's a phenomenal fucking game. If you've got a 360 and don't hate driving games, snap it up.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
And I saw our mutual friend was designing car stuff, so that is in there.
No, but you can't auction it. That's what I said. There's no auction house.
Oh, there's no auction.
No,
you
because
can design, you can't auction. Sorry,
yeah,
I misunderstood what you said.
No, because that's the obsessive part of that game is that you get involved in all this auction shit, and that's not there. You can still buy and sell it. It's just that you have to name your price. So.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood what you said.
Because he should just sit there and watch his auctions go up.
Yeah.
Because he spends so much time on those things that.
Yeah, shame you can't earn real money from it. But
True that.
So our number ones are the same, I assume.
I don't. What's your number one?
I was going to make a crap joke about some crap game, but I can't be bothered. Halo 4.
Oh, what was the crap joke you were going to make?
I was trying to think of a shit game that would be funny, but it was never going to be worth it. So yeah, Halo 4.
Halo 4.
Halo 4. Where to begin?
Indeed.
Should we do? Do you want to do campaign, multiplayer, Spartan Ops? Split it up like that?
All right, go on then.
All right, let's talk campaign. First things first, immediately, it looks amazing.
That's understating it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Reach looked fucking good, and especially compared to 3, which was a bit disappointing visually, because you were expecting such a leap on the new technology back then. This, I don't understand how it looks this good. It's like another generation up from Halo Reach. Fucking unbelievably good-looking game. At first, I was a bit disappointed because the colours, they've gone for a more muted, almost mature, I'd say, colour palette, haven't they, compared to the bright colours of previous Halos. I was lacking in purple in my life. I was lacking in some pink, but that starts to make sense later on when the oranges come in and stuff. And to me, the Halo colour palette's always been something that's appealed to me a lot. But yeah, in terms of the fucking skyboxes, the detail, the sheen, it looks like Forza Horizon but Halo. And those two games make no sense. I can't understand how they look this good and feel so solid. So yeah, it looks good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can possibly overstate it. I mean, it's jaw-dropping. I remember at the beginning of the year, I can't remember what the 3 games were. One of them was UFC Undisputed 3. But I played 3 games on the trot, and afterwards I thought, we're ready for new console hardware now. The developers are overshooting what's possible on these machines. But after playing Fable the Journey, Forza Horizon, and now Halo 4, I'm just like, I don't even think we need new consoles. Because these are incredible looking games. They're incredible to the degree that, I mean, PS3, we're very used to saying PS3 exclusive look amazing, but these games, they're properly state of the art, incredible looking games. And I just think the design of the world, I mean, there's a lot of, this is set obviously after Halo 3. It's supposed to be the most recent, the most far along in the timeline. And there are places that you visit where the architecture is clearly supposed to be a development from what was in previous games. So it looks the same but kind of different. And I really liked the way that was. Yeah,
all the Forerunner stuff, which has been in there since the first Halo, is now stunning. As stunning as it was in Halo 1, if that makes sense. Because relatively, when I played that blew my mind as well. Looking back, it just looks like a bunch of boxes. But again, now, just the kind of like architecture and artistry and imagination, they create world. I mean, Halo is underrated in so many places and highly rated in others, but these are incredible imaginative worlds that really certainly pull me in and make me start think and question where I am. And Halo 4 for me, I'll talk about the sort of minutiae, the mechanics later, but it kind of brought back that feeling of otherworldly oddness mixed with the combat that the first game managed, because the reason the first game's so good, apart from the design, is that it was also new, and then no Halo's really been new since then until now, because of this new enemy type and these new types of worlds that you visit during the game. And there are times I was just like, what are these guys that I'm fighting, and where am I, and what am I going to see next? And you see something, you'd be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that to happen, like, at all. And I remember that feeling vividly from playing the first Halo and just being like, wow, like the first time I shot a needler, stuff like that really have lived with me and almost coloured the way I've thought about games for the last decade. And stuff like that has happened in Halo 4, which is very exciting to me.
Do you think it's on a par with the Bungie games?
Now, here's where we have to talk about the mechanics, I guess. It's fucking close. And at times, I think there are missions in the campaign which are up there with the best Halo missions for me. But there are little niggles where the AI in particular isn't quite as good. It's still better than other shooter games AI by a long way. So that needs to be established first.
I'm undecided. I'm undecided about that. I don't think it's. I mean, the Bungie Halo games would always shock you by some of the stuff that they did.
Yeah.
And playing through the campaign, I didn't notice anything like that. But going back and doing some of the Spartanauts, which we'll talk about in a minute on Legendary, I saw some stuff and I was like, "You little fucker!" Like seeing an elite run upstairs, hide downstairs, and I'm going to go down. He nips up, just pops his head up, throws a sticky grenade at me, and then runs back downstairs. I'm like, "You little shit!"
I have had that because I played through the campaign on Heroic as opposed to, I think you did it on normal, didn't you?
Yeah, I've just started it again on Legendary, but I did it on normal first.
I have had moments like that, which is what I crave from Halo, and it's always happened in the Bungie games. But I've also had plenty of moments where you look at an elite and he's just standing there and you shoot him in the face and he doesn't move. Very occasionally, but it kind of stands out because this is Halo. You know, this doesn't happen in Halo really. So when that did happen, it was more obvious than ever, and little bits like it's kind of telling that there's no campaign theatre mode in this one, because the way that the AI and the levels are structured and populated is different, I think, to certainly Halo 3 and Halo Reach, whereby you could go through and use the flyover in the campaign theatre mode in those games and see the AI of guys way back in the level and they're interacting with each other nowhere near you, whereas this feels like it's kind of drawing guys in as you get to them, like almost any other game does. And again, it's not a huge problem, and if you're not a Halo fucking weirdo like me, you probably wouldn't even notice. But just the small things, and you get a couple in a row and I'd be like, damn, this doesn't have the Halo magic, and then something would happen and I'd be like, yes, of course it does. And stuff with the new enemies who we should talk about. I
have to say I didn't find any problems at all with the AI. Not one problem. I haven't seen nothing where someone was standing still while I hammered the shit out of them. Nothing.
This happened, I'd say, twice. I mean, twice in a campaign, which has taken a long time because Heroic's fucking harder than in any of the other Halo games.
That's weird that you say that. I'm interested because I mean I've done the campaign on normal and I've done the first mission and a half on Legendary, and I'm still on Reach. I still haven't finished Reach on Legendary. This felt like it's considerably easier than Reach was.
Interesting, maybe because it has a slightly different flow to it than the Bungie games, and I mean slightly different. But the main thing is there are a few sticking points which have extremely long gaps between the checkpoints, and that's what makes them so hard. Longer than at any point in any of the Bungie games, and to the point where it's like, am I seriously not got a checkpoint yet? You know, you're asked to take out like 30, 40 guys, including elites and Promethean Knights, who we should talk about in a second. You know, all of which can just smash you in seconds, and there's always the chance of stepping on a plasma grenade and something in Halo, which is why the checkpoint is normally quite generous. So having to go back another 10 minutes and do it all again over and over and over and over a few times did my nut. And there were a couple of occasional moments, and these are really small criticisms, where it was a couple of bits which felt a bit unfair, and there have been bits in the previous Halo games which on high difficulties have been like that as well, so I'm not singling out 343 for this, but there was a couple of bits where I thought that probably wouldn't have been in one of the Bungie ones, but these are like sections within giant missions within a giant campaign. So I don't want to focus on being negative. I want to actually switch that around right now and say I think 343 have done an amazing job in continuing Bungie's legacy, taking it to the next level in terms of visuals. There's way more enemies on screen, and they brought all their own flavour with the new enemy types. The story is better than it's ever been as well. Actually following it, I'm interested in it. The acting's much better. The cutscenes are much better. And this is before we even talk about multiplayer and Spartanauts. So I want to establish that I think it's fucking superb.
It is. I mean, it is very, very good. I mean, someone asked me what I thought, which they asked me what order I'd put them in, and I'm not. I'm going through it on Legendary again. I'm going to reserve judgment until I finish it on Legendary, but I don't think it's up to snuff with the best. I don't think it's as good. The thing is, the campaign. I'm surprised that they've made it Halo 4 rather than a sort of an offshoot or a different timeline or something, because it is actually surprisingly different. It's smaller. I mean, it's still an epic game, but there's something. It's smaller. I mean, there are huge set pieces, ridiculously huge set pieces have always been part and parcel of Halo games. There's not many of those in here. It's a very different. The ebb and flow of combat is very, very different.
There's a lot of combat.
There is
infantry combat in
this. I don't think I mean, it's a superb game. I'm just it doesn't always feel like a Halo game. Especially at the beginning, where I started to worry.
Yeah.
The first half, I was slightly worried, especially when they introduced what looked like a villain. Because the thing about Halo games, I mean, we've spoken about this whenever a Halo game's come out, we've always been like, when they start to go off a bit with the space politics. The upside of that was that they never had to rely on a villain. You always felt like you were this cog in a machine and you were fighting the system, and it was like that was what made them great. And there was no boss battles or any shit like that.
They were in 2, but they weren't really boss battles. You just punched those guys in the neck, didn't you?
Which guys?
The what they called? The fucking little old Covenant guys in the chairs, the Prophets.
That doesn't even ring a bell.
Because it's probably because you've only done Halo 2 once, because it's not very good compared to the others.
Yeah, that's true. But by and large, they didn't rely on something as cliched as a villain. And when they introduced what looks like a bad guy in this, I thought, oh shit. Are you introducing a character who I'm going to have to... I'm not going to spoil anything, but I was worrying without good reason.
Yeah. I think that's a fair thing to say.
That was a problem, but it was only because I was worried about it. But it is a surprisingly different game, not to its detriment. I think if you're... But I never realised, I never thought of myself as a Halo purist, but when I started playing it, I was like, I think Bungie took their assets library with them, because as soon as we started playing, I was like, the pistol doesn't sound like that. As soon as I got in a Warthog, I was like, the Warthog doesn't sound like that. I never thought of myself as that kind of person, but I was just like nitpicking little things that didn't seem right.
I was at first as well.
It's not a problem, and it's a testament to the game that as it goes on, you care less and less and less about that sort of stuff.
It helps when they bring in their own flavour in the third mission when the Forerunners come in.
Yeah,
we need to talk about that enemy quickly. The Promethean Knights. The Forerunners of basically the Promethean Knights, who are like their elite equivalent, and these little scurrying guys that are fun to shoot in the face because they explode in a really satisfying way, and they're kind of annoying in a good way. But it's mainly about these guys who they kind of have the intelligence of elites. They're harder than elites. They're tougher to kill. They can teleport, but not in a cheap way, and they can rush you in this really special teleport. They can summon these really annoying turrets which can catch grenades and shield them. They're really like varied and difficult enemies, and eventually there's different levels of them as well. And some of the weapons that they have are very, very cool. I think they did a great... What do you think? I think they did a really cool job in establishing a genuinely new type of enemy in Halo.
And a new set of weapons, and finding my feet with them, because there's always some that you get and you're just like, "This, what is this?" I wish I could remember the names of them. I have to say, they've got pretty forgettable names, but
they do. Bolt shot, suppressor, light rifle, binary rifle. But the way you pick them up and they go like Transformers or magical Transformers or something is very cool.
Yeah, and but the way. When you work out what's good for... I mean, that's the joy of any Halo game. I mean, you work out what's good against what.
Yeah.
And yet they are... I mean, it's completely different from anything you've ever seen in a Halo game, but it still felt like they're part of the same universe.
And when you're fighting both, because, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're going to end up fighting both types of enemies at the same time, because that's what Halo does. That can be quite special at times. Yeah,
and and it's also nice. I mean, that's another thing where I think the AI was surprising, is that I often hung back and watched them fight each other.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be really, really... That works really well. You could sort of go in when half of them were depleted and stuff like that. So I think the AI is less of a problem the more I played the game.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I want to reiterate in case my points before, I was being hypercritical. And it's still better than the AI in any other shooter by a distance, and not really anything comes close. Only stuff like Far Cry 2 even comes anywhere near it, really, and stuff like Crysis perhaps. But it's the Halo purist in me, just going, that would have never happened before. But there's probably stuff that's happened in it that wouldn't have happened in the Bungie games. Yeah. But yeah, super cool. The music didn't do it for me as much as Marty O'Donnell stuff.
Oh no, I preferred the music. Did nice. You? Yeah, I thought it was nice to have something. Something a bit original, because relying on a theme tune is just. I think the fact that they didn't feel the need to rely on that was
yeah. But they didn't use that theme tune in 2, Reach, or ODST.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's in 3. It's not in Reach, and it's not in 2. Weirdly. There's a riff on it in 2, but the music in ODST is still the best for me.
Okay,
that kind of smoky jazz.
Smoky jazz?
Yeah, the kind of when you're in a city, when you're the ODST going around a city and trying to hide, and it's like that kind of smoky jazz with the Halo vibe to it. That's the best music in any Halo for me.
I need to hear that just to hear if I can. Smoky jazz. I mean, okay, all right. I'll have to try and seek that out.
It was so good.
I thought the music was very strong, and I liked the sort of sweeping, very very reminiscent of Hans Zimmer stuff that comes in during the final mission. I was like button pushing, but it's really effective, and I like the fact that it was like the end of Max Payne when that tune came on.
Yeah, that was super.
There is a little bit of a, it does lift everything a little bit. You feel like you're on your way to the end of the game, and that's very very good. But yeah, the campaign very very good.
Very, very good.
The fact that I might not think it's quite on a par with the best of Bungie stuff, it's not far off it.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like when Treyarch first took their hand to Call of Duty and their campaigns were just nowhere near as good. It's nothing like that. Yeah. It's in the argument. It's there. It's not going to disappoint fans at all. They're going to be. I think people are going to be very pleasantly surprised. And even though it is slightly different to other Halos in terms of the flow and the pacing, don't worry. There are huge open battles as well in there. At times, some of the biggest. There's a couple which I think are probably the biggest in the series. One which is pure fan service for me, just nerd out city, which I don't want to spoil, but I loved it. Okay,
to be honest, I didn't think there was any battles as big as anything. I mean, there were. That's the one thing that I think this game's lacking. There are big ones, but the first Halo, one of the first things I remember is coming out onto a battlefield, and there's those. Everyone's fighting, and it's just the scope of it. Even back on the original Xbox, I don't think that. But then I don't think they're striving for something like that.
But there are a couple of parts in Halo 4 where it's that doubled in terms of the amount of troops and the size of the area.
Okay, that might be. I mean, as I've only played it on normal, I have to say that I've never noticed that.
Okay.
I will say also briefly that there are nods to every Halo game, very, very, very subtle, just in terms of the way the levels are designed.
Yeah, not in an irritating way whatsoever.
No. I'm just like, that reminds me of Halo 1. Oh, that reminds me of Halo. Literally every Halo game, I think, ever so slightly and very, very subtle, and that was nice. And the message 343 put up this fucking lovely message at the end of the game. Just this little text thing. Oh, it's lovely. Just a lovely kind of. I won't spoil it, but that's a fantastic little thing at the end. But
right. Let's move on to multiplayer.
But the potential to be the best multiplayer of any Halo game, I think.
Yes, I think so.
It's too early to tell as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's because we've been playing this where only journalists are playing it, and I must say, 343 staff fuckers.
Yeah.
Have you played against one of them?
I think so, yeah. I've been smashed up by people who didn't feel on the same level to everyone else.
No, honestly, once every game, I check the scorecard and I'm like, who the fuck are you? I mean, like, far and away, the highest score on the table. Yeah. Click on his gamer card, it's a silver account, no gamer score. I'm like, you little shit. Go back and fuck off. Because honestly, they're just fucking demons, obviously, because they've been working on the game for ages. But I tell you what, man, cheaters. Fucking cheaters.
But cheaters. the way that they've kind of brought it up to date and turned it into a truly modern shooter with the upgrade system. I knew there was going to be an upgrade system with unlocks and whatnot when they talked about it. But what I didn't realise is how much they were going to alter the actual flow of a standard Team Slayer game. So have kill streak equivalents that work really nicely that drop the more powerful weapons or power-ups. The fact that the game isn't so focused around controlling the power weapons, it's more about gun on gun with the standard weapons, and then as you do well, you can start to bring power weapons into it, and the little abilities that you have that are similar to the ones from Reach, but there's a few new ones. The flow of that's much better and much more modern feeling, but still very, very much has that Halo essence, which is the only thing that stuff like COD is lacking, really. It doesn't have that unscripted madness that Halo has. Have you played the Dominion mode?
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, I can't remember. Was that in Reach? I can't remember.
No.
Dominion is basically domination, where you sort of fortify those units when you capture the point. Yeah,
and then it starts bringing in the vehicles and everything like that. Yeah, it's such a cool idea. I think I was probably still up playing Team Slayer the most, but I like the fact that they're really trying to keep it Halo, keep it and take it to a modern place, and throw in new ideas as well. And a great kill in Halo multiplayer is better than a great kill, I think, in any online shooter.
Aside from possibly Battlefield.
Okay, yeah, maybe some in Battlefield, yeah. I was thinking more COD, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, in comparison to COD, it's night and day. But they're two different things. But
no, of course they are.
But yeah, I had already. I mean, just the other day. I mean, I think it was yesterday actually. I played just a Team Slayer with a bunch of guys, and we were getting fucking hammered. And then we came back. I mean, it was just the most gripping, fantastic, amazing kills. I mean, I went to town afterwards on the theatre mode, just capturing some of the shit that happened. It's just like, this is. You know, I loved Halo 3. I loved ODST. I loved Reach to bits. I loved Reach to absolute bits. But this feels like Halo 2. Yes. And that Halo 2 was my fucking that's one of the all-time great online shooters, and it is. I was up until God knows when the other night playing it, just completely and utterly gripped, because it does harness that kind of just anything can happen craziness, and it's just it's good. Yeah. And the armor abilities, they've got rid of some and kept others. There's this new one, this lunge move where you can instantly.
I haven't used that yet.
That's the one. You can instantly dodge out of cover. Dodge into cover, sorry, you can sort of shift instantly, or if you're running towards someone and they're going to go for the melee, you can
a bit like Dishonored, is it? A bit.
Yeah, but it's a very small amount so you can't leap large distances, so you have to be standing in an adjacent doorway. That's why already when I see someone standing in an adjacent doorway, I try and strategize around, because I know what he's going to do. He's going to jump into the doorway. But the best part is when you run in gunning at someone and they're going to go for the melee, and you go for the lunge instead and fucking smash the shit out of them.
Right, that's cool. I've mainly been using the Promethean vision, which is, you know, the see through the walls, because the big problem with me with online shooters is getting killed by people I don't know where they are. So checking where you see a dot on your radar, hit Promethean vision, you go, okay, so he's walking around from here and he's going to drop down into this door and then I've got him. That's really helping my game. But this sounds interesting. This lunge, I'm going to set up another loadout with this lunge.
I had no idea that you could actually see through walls with that.
Yes, it's very good. Try it. It's very, very good.
Fair play.
Yeah, but I think with any of these games, you can only really start to get a handle on the balance after a long period of time.
Yes, I mean, but Halo Reach took a while to take hold for me, but this instantly.
Yeah. And I love the fact that I can play it on my own and still feel like I'm working towards something.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's true. That's unlike any other game, almost. I mean, Battlefield does it to a certain degree, but feeling part of a team, that does happen pretty instantly when you're playing Halo.
Yeah. And so the final part of the puzzle is Spartan Ops, the narrative-driven co-op mode with the episodic mode, where they're going to keep updating the content. Pretty cool from what I played. That's the part of the game I played the least. We played one together, which was quite good fun, but we kind of blasted through it. We should have probably done it on Legendary. I think we did it on Heroic, and it wasn't very difficult, to be honest, when we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it when Halo's combat is just distilled into a space, and you can really start to appreciate the craft that's going on. And it seems really cool. Like I say, you might need to talk me through this one a little bit more, because I haven't played enough of it.
Yeah, I've done 4 missions. I think I did one with you, and then I did the other 3 on just on single player on Legendary. I think that the hardcore fans are going to be a little bit disappointed, because they're essentially, anyone can do them, because as soon as you die, you just respawn. You've lost nothing. You don't have to go back to a checkpoint or anything, because it's just. And I was quite encouraged when they got rid of Firefight. Firefight mode was a brilliant mode, but it was just Horde. And we've all done Horde to death. I mean, now if you put Horde in a game now, did you play the Horde mode equivalent in Binary Domain?
No.
It was like the game would have looked better if it didn't have it in it. It made the game look bad. So the fact that they were kind of progressing the co-op idea with this was really encouraging. I don't think it lives up to what I expected of it, because it is basically the same thing with a couple of very, very sort of minor missions tied into the middle. And you do move about quite a bit, so you are kind of in a sort of story mode, moving from A to B and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very good. It's very, very entertaining. The only thing is that, as I said, hardcore fans are going to be a little bit annoyed that you can die a million times, you can still complete it.
I didn't actually realise that. I thought maybe the time when we played it, because one of us was alive, it was okay. But I thought we were just respawning each other, but I didn't realise you could do that.
No, I did it on Legendary. I did a couple on Legendary yesterday, and You can keep dying. You just even if you kill one enemy each time, you'll keep coming back. And
that's a strange decision.
I mean, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, but then again, they've got the skulls there, so you can have a skull whereby if you die, there's all those skulls that sort of people can tinker with if they want to ramp up the difficulty. But nevertheless, people like it when there's achievements tied to stuff like that, and the fact that this is so straightforward might upset some hardcore fans, but it's very, very entertaining. I mean, if you want to do a mode on co-op, it's better than most co-op modes for sure.
Yeah, and of course you've got co-op campaign as well.
Indeed, is that still for 4 players?
Yes.
Fair play. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Yes. So I need to play more Spartan Ops. I'll probably try and do the Halo's one of the few games I actually make sure that I do on co-op with my brother. It's like a tradition, so I'll probably do that on Legendary. Looking forward to going back through that again, and I'm pretty sure multiplayer's going to sink its teeth in, but it may be what happened with Reach, because Black Ops 1 came out, and out of all the COD games, that's the only one that's ever grabbed me, and Halo Reach disappeared for us as we were playing it.
Yeah.
So this might happen again.
Same here. I mean, it depends, because like I said, COD's never grabbed me to that degree either. I mean, that was an obsession for all of us.
Yeah.
But this, man, it's going to have to be pretty special, because once everyone's got on board with this, I think we're going to get fucking sucked right in again.
I think so.
Yeah, it's the package is just it's astounding. It's a hell of a fucking game.
Really is. Very, very happy that they managed to do such good work.
They have, yeah. They've done the franchise proud.
No doubt.
One just random thought. I've never felt so uncomfortable killing those little guys.
Really?
Maybe it's just because I've gotten older, but I've never felt so uncomfortable.
But they don't. The grunts.
Yeah.
They don't. But they're not as like kiddie anymore, and because they don't speak in the same way in Halo 4, do they? You can't really understand what they say.
But at the same time, when they run away, they wave their arms.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's a sequence. There's a classic Halo set piece in Halo 4 where you have to escape from somewhere quite quickly on a vehicle. I think an equivalent to that sequence has happened in every Halo game. Yeah. And you pass all these little grunts running around, waving their hands in the air, and I'm just like, I feel if I had an extra seat on this thing, I'd stop and I'd let you in. And like my girlfriend was watching me play it. Whenever I killed one, she was like, "They're friendly." I'm like, they kind of are friendly. I feel bad killing those little fuckers.
Yeah, they're not friendly on heroic when they fucking plasma shot you and then take you out.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's just like they seem like such amiable little fellows. They're nice little guys.
They're the chavs of the Covenant.
No, they're not. They're like the...
No, the Jackals are the chavs.
Who are the Jackals?
With the shields.
I don't know where this conversation is going. I don't have anything to say to what you just said.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's probably time to end this discussion.
Indeed, well, Halo 4, it's excellent.
Yes, so apologies for going long. We were never going to do 40 minutes, obviously, but this is probably the longest one we've done. But we felt it was necessary to talk about Halo 4 in depth because we're in a rare occasion of, I think we're pretty much hitting at the same time as the embargo drops and everyone will be talking about it and the game isn't out yet. So, apologise for going long, but hopefully you found it interesting and enlightening about Halo 4. So thank you very much for listening, as always. If you do like the podcast, tell someone about it. That would be really good for us. And if you hate it, I don't understand why you've listened to us for this song. Don't forget to check out the website at thefiniteplaylist.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, and always Stitcher Radio.
The almighty Stitch.
Never die.
Indeed.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Flip Yap and I went to